We're going to speak to our business editor now in the studio, Charles Pellegrin. Hello to you, Charles. Catherine, taking us through some of the context of this summit. You've been looking at one of the issues that's also central in these talks, presumably anyway, debt relief.
That's right. I mean, Catherine Norstrand mentioned the idea that all the different methods of financing all these climate change adaptations or poverty alleviation programs. But currently, the problem in many developing countries is the debt load of these states. The Secretary General of the United Nations said that around 50 countries are currently in or near debt distress, and debt servicing levels are at their highest levels since the 1990s, meaning that a lot of developing countries are spending more money on paying off their debt than they, and less money on investing in climate change infrastructure or these poverty alleviation programs. Emmanuel Macron, in his speech, actually said that the current system, the current global financing system, needs to be able to work faster for developing nations, needs to be able to speed up. He's talking about the old Bretton Woods institutions from that were born after the Second World War. And one of the things that need to change in order to speed things up is how to mediate discussions between creditors, especially between creditors like China, which is the biggest bilateral lender in the world, and multilateral development banks like the World Bank or the IMF, and Western nations or the Paris Club of creditors. There are many differences between these actors, and this is having an effect on economies. For example, Zambia, that's been stuck in restructuring talks for 3 years, where it's facing a $6 billion default to China. And the differences here is that China thinks that some of these multilateral development banks should be accepting losses on their loans, while these banks believe that they're lenders of last resort, and as such should not have to do that, or else they'll have to raise their interest rates, which would defeat the purpose of really their existence. So this summit here is potentially an opportunity for these people to get together and find processes, find ways to overcome these differences. Janet Yellen, the U.S. Treasury Secretary, said that she was optimistic about finding a solution for Zambia at this summit. So did the president of Zambia, Hakainde Hichilema. We haven't heard from the Chinese side, which is represented by Prime Minister Li Qiang, who is in Paris this week.